All right, we're live.
We're live?
Yep.
Okay, hold on. Come on this side with the people.
Do we count down or? Okay. What's up, all? This is Ken Klippenstein with TYT Investigates. I'm here at the campaign after party for Doug Jones. The mood is, of course, exuberant. What's amazing is that the write-ins actually are the number of people that wrote in a third name instead of voting for Moore or Jones actually made the difference in this election. I'm looking at CNN right now. It says the write-ins were comprised 1.7% of the vote, and the difference between the vote for Jones and Moore was less than that. So all those folks writing in made the difference, and that's, I think, probably really unusual in a race like this. As you can see, everyone's really happy. When we walked in here, people were dancing in the lobby, and we told them we were with the Young Turks, and they gave us a hug, and they started cheering. Everyone's really
kind of cleared out now because we was at Roy's first.
Yeah, we were at Roy's initially. Now we got here a little late, so there's a bit fewer people, but you couldn't tell that from the amount of noise going on right now. Everyone's so happy. Let's go chat with some of them. You want to go chat with those folks in front of the TV? Okay.
Right here. How you guys feeling?
How do you guys feel about this?
Yeah? We're with the Young Turks. You heard of the Young Turks? You heard of the Young Turks?
Yeah. I'm so emotional because for the last 4 or 5 weeks, I've knocked doors, I've gotten out of my clinic, I've made thousands of phone calls, I've organized calling parties with friends and family from all over the country. And this is a part of my fight for justice for my brother, who I lost to police brutality, Terrence Crutcher, out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so this was a part of me turning my pain into purpose and getting involved in the political process. Because if we want change, it starts right here. It starts by electing the right people and putting them in the right position that's going to fight for issues like community policing, criminal justice reform, education. And so this right here, this is for my brother. This is for my brother, Terrence Crutcher, out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, who we lost last year to police brutality by Officer Betty Shelby with his hands in the air, unarmed. And so we did it. And when a small group of people get together and just do good, man, this is what happens. This is the only thing that changes worlds. And so I always say when spider webs come together, we can tie up a lion. And we did it.
And that's what you did in the state of Alabama, electing a Democrat to the Senate.
They counted us out, but I found out that they couldn't count.
What message would you like to send to the rest of the country, non-Alabamans?
What I'll say is let's start organizing right now. November 6, 2018, we can flip-flop Congress like we just flip-flopped Alabama. So, hey, we need people to rise up. We need people to run for office. We need to actually, go out and win so we can represent what America truly, truly stands for. So I think we're going to do it. We're energized. In Alabama, we showed the world what we were made of.
Thanks so much for sharing your story with us. Nice meeting you. How do you guys feel about this?
Hi. So my name is Jessica Johnson Anderson. I am the Montgomery Young Democrats president of our Montgomery Club, and then I serve as the statewide vice president, place 3. And as a young working mother, I am just so proud of my adopted home state. I'm actually from Georgia. That we rejected someone that trolled the mall for dates. I mean, come on. Like, as the young folks, we're not that removed from being at the mall, and the fact that we had a U.S. Senate candidate in his 30s asking 15-year-olds to go out with him, like, ew on so many levels. You take away a lot of the issues that Alabamians care about, and you go right down to brass tacks, and we were all taught the preschool values, right? You love your neighbor, you respect your neighbor, and you care about your neighbor. You don't stalk your neighbor at the mall. So aside from all of the issues that I feel like Doug Jones, who is now the senator from the state of Alabama, felt like was important, were now things that Roy Moore completely disagreed with we now have someone that's actually honest and that actually cares about Alabama. And when I worked for the campaign and all of the young folks that came out and actually cared about what was going on, we had crossover voting numbers in record turnout in Montgomery, because I can look at friends of mine that said, I can't vote for that guy because we're not that far removed from being the ones that hung out at the mall. It's just not okay, and I'm just so proud of the fact that Alabama was able to say, we're done with this. And even if it's just for a limited amount of time, we're done with this. And something better is hanging out in Alabama, and something better is to come from Alabama, and we are not something that you make fun of on Twitter. We are people that care about our state. We are people that care about our children, and we are caring about rural hospitals. We are caring about education. We are caring about the fact that there are areas in Alabama that don't have running water. These are things that Roy Moore never addressed, and they are things that Doug Jones cares about. And so now I am proud to say that my entire family, my husband and I, both voted for the next senator of the state of Alabama.
Thanks so much for sharing that with us. Nice meeting you. How about you, sir? How do you feel?
Well, I'm pretty excited. I'm a lifelong Republican. This is the first Democrat I voted for I voted for a Democrat sheriff in like 1990.
What changed your mind?
Well, the Republican candidate. I found Roy Moore to be just awful before all the sexual allegations.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because there's a whole history to that sort of got eclipsed by the allegation.
And it's also believable. That's the thing. It's not, I've got enough common sense to, know when there's some fake charges thrown out. And when you see something like this come up, it's just a little bit too much. And I hope Doug Jones will be a good senator for Alabama. I hope he will cross party lines. If he doesn't, if he's not his own man, he'll be gone in 2 years, and I won't be voting for him.
And at least you don't have more, right?
Yes, because it's too much. It's not worth having someone with an R by his name up there who will humiliate and be an embarrassment to your party. My family's been Republicans for 50 years, and it's just not worth compromising ourselves to have someone up there who is a sideshow huckster and a fraud. And all of the stuff he spouts, I don't believe in. And he's not the kind of Republican I want to be.
Has it made it uncomfortable here in Alabama with so many Republicans, having this rift take place?
No, not at all. I mean, most of my friends, half my friends are Democrats, half my friends are Republicans, and it's not uncomfortable. We can talk about things and talk about politics with each other, but it's a tough call. I'm a Trump supporter. I still have a Trump sticker on my truck. And so there's nothing uncomfortable about talking politics around here. I mean, we believe in what we believe in.
So it's been pretty civil?
Yeah, it's been quite civil. And probably because most people that I know dislike Roy Moore. And so it hasn't been civil. You haven't seen all these protests and all that nonsense. But, we tend to be a little bit more practical.
It's such an interesting story. Lifelong Republican turned on Moore.
Yeah. I mean, I've cast... Well, I was wrong. I misspoke.
You mentioned the sheriff.
Yeah, the sheriff. But I also voted for Bob Vance when he ran against Roy Moore. For the so the only other Republican that there is only Roy Moore is the only Republican I voted against. To be clear.
Thanks for sharing your story with us, sir.
Happy to.
Take care. All right, well, it looks like everyone's watching on television right now, seeing Doug Jones deliver his victory speech. We're going to go chat with some of them, see if they'll share their feelings with us.
to them.
Oh, yeah, it looks like they're kind of absorbed in the speech. Maybe I won't interrupt them.
Hey, bro. How you feeling about the win, man?
I'm feeling pretty good, man.
Feeling pretty good? Yeah. You from Alabama?
I am. Born and raised.
What do you think? What do you think this win does for Alabama? Like for the future of Alabama?
I think it's possible for some kind of new beginning. Possible, I say. I mean, things can revert back, but it's definitely some good energy that we can take advantage of, I think.
So why do you think you voted for Doug Jones versus Roy? Like what politics that you stood for that you like?
It's not necessarily what the politics that Doug Jones stood for me, because I'm a specific kind of a policy person, but I know I'm not in line with Roy Moore when it comes to policy. So regardless of even the controversy, I would not have voted for Roy Moore in this case.
You feel like this was more about Moore than it was about Jones?
Yes, I do. Yeah. And me, I don't like that part, because I'm more about policy and details. So.
Well, there's something to be said for his temperament, I feel like, with all the allegations. And not just that, but, him getting kicked off the court by his own party a number of times.
Right. That's true. But I think it's all strategy, because if Moore won tonight, they could do whatever in Washington. They could take him to the ethics committee and possibly, push him away, but then get the chance to reappoint a Republican, as well. So, it's strategy, it's strategy. I think the Republicans put party first, and that's what they do, regardless of the controversy, But the voters made a difference this time, not the party. That's the voters.
I was wondering, how does that make you feel? Because a lot of times you can become cynical with politics. How does it make you feel to know that the people decided tonight versus some corporation or donor?
Well, I believe the people decided, but of course with some kind of influence. So this is not just a regular election, So yeah, they decided, but not without some kind of influence,
Yeah, I believe Jones outspent Moore by a pretty large number, right?
He was outspent.
I think so.
Yes, he had the money. Yes. And Moore didn't have it for a certain amount of time. Then they reinstated the funding. In the end,
That must be why Trump backed Strange and the rest of the Republicans did.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. What was the sense like when Luther Strange lost and Roy Moore won?
What was what?
What was the feeling like here in Alabama when Luther Strange lost to Roy Moore?
I don't know, because I'm really not a Republican, so I don't know what the Republicans' feelings were. I wouldn't know.
Thanks for sharing your story with us. All right, well, looks like everyone's still glued to the TV watching Doug Jones' victory speech. When we came in here in the lobby, people were literally dancing. So it's a very joyous mood here. Let's go try to let's go try to chat with some of these folks over here. Hey, ladies. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. Hey, how are you?
How do you feel about the outcome?
Oh, I'm ecstatic. I think it's awesome. Of course, for Alabama, it just sends such a great message that we're not this dysfunctional state as, it's been projected with some of the other unfortunate issues we've had. But I'm excited. I think it's paramount. It's historical. So just glad to be a part of the state at this moment.
The Democrats have pulled it off in this state. That's something.
Yeah, and we needed it. We needed it so bad.
I feel like the country did.
Well, the country did, and most definitely Alabama does. But I think it sends a positive message that, you can be an underdog for a long time. It doesn't mean you have to remain that way. So we're just so glad that he ran a good campaign and a positive campaign. But at the same time, he said what needed to be said. He reached out across all demographic, all racial lines, and was very inclusive of individuals participating in the process while at the same time encouraging them to do so. So that says a lot. I mean, I'm happy that he won for so many reasons.
I feel like it's hard to exaggerate how different Jones' approach was from Moore's. When we were driving in here, just turning on the radio, we heard, you got to build the walls. The people, they're going to come flooding into the country. just polar opposites from Jones' approach.
Well, it's totally opposite. And, when you think about just being reared from a child up until adulthood, it's all, for most of us, it's in here in Alabama. I'm not originally from Alabama, but I grew up here. It's never been about divide and conquer. It's been about inclusiveness, equality, and allowing other individuals' perspectives and issues to be addressed, and not just a one-sided type coin. So I think the message that was sent tonight is that the old rhetoric of Make America Great Again, whatever that means to the people who are perpetrating it, it's not going to move forward. We are trying to not only to be progressive, but to be inclusive, because everyone has something to lend. And for as many people to come out in this special election to show that, hey, we have a voice, all of us, and we want it to be heard, I can tell you how happy I am to see the turnout. And then
we went to a number of polling stations, and that's what we heard from almost everyone we spoke with. Was it's just incredible the number of people that are coming out to participate.
It is, and it's a good thing. And what it shows people is that the process works. Someone was saying earlier that when he was trailing a little bit, we're not going to make. I said, hey, 1 + 1 is 2, right? So keep going. So if you sit there and don't add numbers by voting, it's never going to happen. But if each of us who we represent a number, 1, 2, 3, if all 3 of us go, that's 3 votes, right? And it keeps going on and going on. So I wish I was in Birmingham right now. But no, we're excited. We really are.
What did you like so much about Jones?
What now?
What did you like about Jones?
Everything. I've known and heard about him. I did my undergrad in law school in Birmingham, so I knew about him representing, the families of the girl, not really representing, but prosecuting those who bombed the 16th Street Baptist Church. So, of course, me being African American, that's near and dear to my heart. But it's amazing how I think this night is divinely appointed, because to think about that happening so many years ago, I think he mentioned tonight was his 25th year anniversary. And then you win this historical election, which those events back there were historic. It's like, this is just what he's destined to do. So I like him standing up for the issues that touch all of us, really. I like the fact that he made a statement that, I'm going to be that senator that works with all senators. And, he made a distinction that was different between him and Moore, that he was going to be willing to work with other senators. And you have to have that. because at the end of the day, we are, a party state, right? But when it comes down to taking care of your constituents and for those issues that matter in the state you're from, you have to work with other people. So I think the country will finally see, I hope, through his win tonight, is being divisive is not going to help any of us. But working together across party lines is what really will get the work done, which is what we need so desperately. So for this win, to me, just represents just that. Inclusiveness, being able to reach out across party lines and say, hey, we can make this happen. And then in saying that, I have to give a special shout out for those write-in voters.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, good.
That's incredible. It made the difference, right?
Listen,
I assume they're...
I don't know who they are, but whoever you are who did the write-ins, God bless you. We so appreciate you. And also for those individuals who stood up and decided, they were going to reach across party lines and do what was right and not vote for the party, but just vote for the best candidate. And in many cases, if we do that, sometimes it may be a little uncomfortable because you're voting outside your party. But if that's what it takes for us to get the best candidates in Washington to work for the issues here in Alabama, then that's what we have to do. And I think Doug Jones is that guy, and he's going to do just that. So I supported him I can go on and on for several reasons, but just the fact that I feel like we will have a senator who will actually look for what needs to take place in Alabama, and then work with other people in other parties to try and make that happen, to achieve that goal. So it's a great night. I'm just happy for him and his family, and for our great state. We really are a great state, despite all, the crazy things we've seen.
The kindness and the friendliness here, I've been really taken aback by. I haven't had much time in the South. I'd heard of Southern hospitality, but I really see it here.
Yeah, and you can feel it, right? I mean, we Southerners, we are very hospitable, and it's just something that you just grow up. I mean, it's not something you learn; it just becomes a part of you, you know. So, come back again. I hope this isn't your last time, and hopefully, you know, you'll see, and everyone will see that when he get there, he's going to do great things. I just did, you know. At some point, even when you live in the state, you know, sometimes people say it's so far removed from what's really going on, but it's really not. No one wants to see the state that they live in and work in, and, you know, we pay taxes here, we have our families here, plastered all over, you know, national news on every front. So this was a good night for Alabama.
It was really nice speaking with you.
Likewise.
Take care.
What's your name?
Stephanie Smoke.
Nice meeting you.
You too. By the way, where are you from?
Oh, we're with the Young Turks. I'm from the Young Turks.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a
cool.
YouTube news.
Get out of here, Los Angeles. And
Madison, Wisconsin.
get out. Well, it's so cool. I have a cousin who lives in Wisconsin. She's new there, but yeah, so maybe I'll get up there. Well, thank you guys for coming. I hope something happened here to show you that Alabama really is a good state, a great
Yeah, I
state.
feel like it sends a message to the country, too, not just Alabama.
It does. We need to come together. I mean, we can get so much more done because, like someone said, we're more alike than we are different. And if we continue to run with that and keep that in the forefront of our thoughts or our mind, we can get so much done. We can. So I think it's a great movement, moving in the right direction. Yeah.
Have a nice weekend.
You too.
You can find us on Facebook and make sure you the Young Turks.
All right, what do you say we wrap up? All right. So Doug Jones has just finished his victory speech a few minutes ago. People broke out into spontaneous applause after that. Everyone's extremely happy. And the after party is kind of thinning out now. When we first came in here, I mentioned before, people were literally dancing in the lobby, so hard to exaggerate how happy people are. Chatting with people, they seem to believe that there's a national significance to this, not just something specific to Alabama, that this is a rejection of the politics of hate. Once again, I'm Ken Klippenstein with TYT Investigates. Thanks for joining us.